I find this to be the hidden way for homeowners to boost their credit score. But like with everything, there's pros and there's cons. And I'll share both with you to determine whether or not you feel this is a good fit for you. Now, this came from the CFPB's website, and basically it says the CFPB report finds that cash out mortgage refinance borrowers improve credit scores. Cash out borrowers paid down credit card debt and auto loan. So let's talk about it. So the CFPB published a report about financial outcomes for cash out refinance mortgage borrowers. Cash out borrowers had an initial sharp improvement in credit scores, followed by a gradual worsening of their scores. Scores in general, however, stayed above the pre-refinance levels. The report confirms that borrowers often do use the money from a cash out refinance to pay down other debts, particularly credit card and auto loan debts. The report looked at borrowers between 2014 and 2021, when a lot of people were paying down their debts, and the credit scores from a national standpoint were at pretty much a high. Home equity is the third most common financial asset for families and a significant source of savings for homeowners. If you're a homeowner and you've been one for, let's just say the past 5 years, then it's a good chance you have some equity in your home, especially if you bought it correctly. So that said, a cash out refinance lets homeowners tap into their equity to pay off other debts or fund needed home repairs. For example, at the same time, paying non-mortgage debts with mortgage debt can increase the risk of foreclosure. I'm going to say that again because this is important for you to understand. Paying non-mortgage debts with mortgage debt can increase the risk of foreclosure. I'll keep reading and then I'll break down what that means and how you can get access to some tools and things that can help you, take your credit to the next level if that's something that interests you. So the CFPB's report includes the following key findings. Borrowers gave, pay off other bills or debts as the most common reason for cash out refinances. So in other words, the most common reason why people wanted to do a cash out refinance was to pay off other bills or debts. So they're pulling away from their equity, which when you do a cash out refinance, you're still using debt. You're still having to pay that money back. So they're using that debt to pay off debt. So it's in a way digging a deeper hole. But that's the most common reason for the cash out refinances based on what, the findings were. Each year from 2014 to 2019, more than 50% of cash out borrowers responding to the National Survey of Mortgage Origination selected paying off other bills or debts and for 2020 and 2021, more than 40% selected that reason. Home repairs or new construction was the second most common reason cited each year. So yes, some people do it for home repairs or new construction because they're trying to leverage their equity into other assets or other property. But that's number two in comparison to paying off debt. Also, the findings noted that cash out borrowers often have different debt profiles than other homeowners. Before the mortgage transaction, mean credit card balances were approximately $4,000 higher among cash out borrowers, while mean student loan balances were approximately $4,000 lower. Mean auto loan balances were similar in magnitude for both groups of borrowers. So they have different profiles, than some other homeowners. But that's not tapping into the pros and cons. So let's keep going. Cash out borrowers had sharp improvements in their debt load and credit scores at the time of refinancing. So cash out borrowers had large drops in credit card and auto loan balances at the time of refinancing, but did not generally experience large drops in their student loan balances. So what happened is they take the money out, and in many cases they want to do the right thing. They got a nice lump sum of money. They want to tell themselves or admit or commit to themselves or keep their commitment to themselves by paying off some debt because that's what they had in mind. But sometimes it might go a portion to that, and it does lower their credit card bill, lowers their auto loan bill. They feel a little good, but not all the time does it stick and stay, which is why when the credit scores go up, it may just be temporary based on their habits not changing. They got this influx of cash in the form of a loan that was taken out in the form of a cash out refinance, But if your habits didn't change, you can still put yourself in a predicament, which is why a lot of times this puts you at risk for foreclosure. Because if you run those credit cards back up or you get some type of auto loan, now not only do you have that credit card debt that you have to pay, you also have a new auto loan that you have to pay. And on top of that, you have to repay what you borrowed or what you pulled out in the form of a cash out refinance from that mortgage. Very important to understand. So, similarly, cash out borrowers had sharp increases in their credit scores in the quarter after the refinance. Credit card balances and use rates trended back toward pre-finance levels in the year following the refinance, but they did not in that time increase the pre-refinance level. Credit scores likewise decreased in the year following refinancing, but remained above pre-refinance level. So I just told you why the credit scores tend to drop. It's not just because they refinance and got the cash out and they paid it off and then that caused harm. Is because the habits didn't change. So if the habits don't change, then you fall back into what you're accustomed to doing. And if you do what you're accustomed to doing, then you'll get what you've been accustomed to getting. So tread lightly when it comes to those cash out refinances, especially when it comes to paying down debt. Now, I'm not opposed to it because I know many people want to tap into that equity. But you want to be strategic with it. If you can tap into that equity and turn that into some type of income stream that pays that borrowed money back off and allows you to pay off some debts, that's the best way to do it. So you're taking that equity, taking that loan, and you're putting it into some type of asset, not some type of debt that has the potential to dig a different hole. See, a person comes from a different mentality, and this is why I said the mindset is key. Because if you had those same habits, then you're just going to go back to what you were typically doing, and now you put yourself in the risk for foreclosure or running back up the credit card. However, if you're the person that takes out a cash out refinance, and now you put it towards something that's going to cash flow and bring you more income, that's a different mindset. That's a mindset shift. So you're breaking away from the previous mindset of just getting debt and using money to pay off debt and thinking that you making money is just to be used to pay off debt. You're switching to the mindset of a person who understands, okay, this money that I just got access to is seed. Let me see if I can plant these seeds and produce a harvest, and that harvest pays off what I borrowed to begin with and provides more cash flow for things I want to do in general. So hopefully that makes sense. If you want access to our free credit class, as well as other things that can help you take your credit to the next level, increase your knowledge or awareness, or if you need assistance with taking your credit to the next level, there should be some information in the description so you can take advantage of it. But there are pros to cons to the cash out mortgage refinance. You just have to understand what your habits are, and if you are going to be responsible with taking that role on, and understanding that if you do take on that role, what can you do in order to position yourself to not increase the chances of foreclosure or increase your chances of digging a deeper hole by having more debt than you started out with initially? That's all I got for this video. Check out the information in the description. Salute.